Hello and welcome back to another FBR video, where in this video I'm going to reveal my team selection ahead of Game Week 5. Now obviously this is not going to be set in stone because the deadline is not until Saturday morning, so anything can change from now until then. I've got 2 free transfers for this game week and I can confirm I've made one already. The second one I'm debating about whether or not to go through with it, but I probably won't make that change until right up to the deadline. But before I go through my team, I'm going to look back at Game Week 4 and show you how I got on, which obviously you can already see anyway. So I got 69 points overall, which on paper looks pretty decent to be fair. I got a small red arrow, but let's face it, look at that. Erling Haaland got me 40 points, the rest of the team got 29. Not the best, is it? But let's go through it anyway. So in goal, Jordan Pickford got 1 point. I mean, I thought he would get a clean sheet in this game, but what a shock. Everton were poor. Pickford wasn't great. He got an own goal. So we're on for a -1 pointer there. And right at the end of the game, he pulls off a triple save, and we somehow we come away with 1 point. When you look at the bench, Turner 5 points, missed out there big time. But who expected Chelsea not to score against Forest? I could not believe when that result came in. I mean, he did get a yellow card, so that's why he's got 5 instead of 6. But how the hell did Chelsea not score? How did Jackson not score? This guy, to me, already is turning out like a Nunes or a Lukaku. He's getting chances, but he's just not scoring. I mean, it might change, but for now, that's how he's coming across. But if he did score that chance he had, that would have been an assist for Sterling. So I missed out there big time. But anyways, defenders, I mean, let's face it, it was not the week for keeping a clean sheet now, was it? Unless you had Forest players. So Henry, 1 point there. What was he doing for that second goal? He just basically gave it to the striker to score. Absolutely shocking. Every time I put Henry in my team, he does shocking for me. But if I leave him on the bench, he'll get an assist or a clean sheet. It's typical, really. I've had no luck with this guy at all. Same with Chilwell, really. Brought him in Game Week 2. He's been disappointing, let's be honest. We all expected big things. He was playing left wing for Chelsea. He does come off early a bit, which is a bit of a concern, but he's not keeping clean sheets either, which is a bit of a pain. The only time he's kept a clean sheet was against Luton, and that game he should have scored as well. Overall, I should have brought in Gusto instead of Chilwell in Game Week 2, because it's definitely not worked out there at all. Esteban, I mean, this was a late change for me. He was sitting on my bench right to the deadline. I changed my mind and swapped in with Saliba, and it was working out perfect for me. They absolutely dominated Newcastle. Brighton did. Looked like they're on for a clean sheet. 93rd minute. What happens? Wilson scores. There goes my clean sheet. I mean, obviously he is highly owned, but still, it's always nice to have the extra points. And then Akanji. I mean, Man City absolutely battered Fulham. Could not believe yet again they concede a single goal. It's just so unfortunate because it's a gamble going for a Man City player because you don't know if he's going to start. So when you find out that Akanji starting, you buzz in, you're thinking, I've got a great chance of a clean sheet, and then it gets blown away. So that's a bit disappointing there. I mean, overall, it was disappointing. Saliba on my bench also didn't keep a clean sheet. So, yeah, overall, it was a massive fail from my defenders. My midfielders, I mean, overall, it's not too bad. It was just surprising in a way. So, we'll talk about Raheem Sterling first. Now, he, obviously, I mentioned he should have had an assist, but Jackson just can't finish. I expected Sterling to do good things this game. Well, this game week just gone. He didn't. Just 2 points. Obviously, he got those hauler points against Luton. Everybody else brought him in because of that, and everybody else is probably disappointed with him. Obviously, I got those points before, so I'm not too disappointed with him. I just expected more in that game week. But the fact that everybody decides to bring him in, it doesn't disappoint me too much because they're all probably now selling him. So hopefully, this game week coming up, he smashes it. He's just had a break. He didn't get into England team, so hopefully he's fresh and ready for the week coming ahead. The Arsenal boys, I mean, Saka got an assist. Odegaard got a goal. Can't complain, really. I mean, yeah, it would have been nice for Saka to score, but I'd take an assist and I'd take a goal. It was against Man United, so I'll happily take that. And the same with Marcus Rashford, really. Tough game against Arsenal. He scored a great goal against them, so buzzing with that. I mean, Fernandes, disappointing again. He's only performed really in one game when it's come to getting results, getting goals and assists. Just been that Forest game. Overall, he's been disappointing. you're reluctant to sell him, but because if he went on penalties, he wouldn't be in my team. I don't think now. So yeah, he has been disappointing, but I just have to accept it was Arsenal. Now strikers, I mean, I've just mentioned already. Erling Haaland, machine, 40 points. If only a triple captained him, he would have got 60. But yeah, 40 points, hat trick, assists, bonus points. Can't go wrong there. Absolutely destroyed Fulham. He did. Fair play to him. I mean, everyone has got him, so like I said, it's irrelevant really. All it does is make you score look better than it actually is. So in hindsight, I only got 29 points. If you take away his goals, let's say, I had 33 points. So overall, he absolutely made it look better than he actually was. So fair play to him getting 40 points. If you didn't captain Haaland, what were you doing in the first place? My other strikers there on the bench, João Pedro 2 points. He started but disappointed, and then Woodrow 1 point. But never gonna play Woodrow, am I? Just as long as his price doesn't go down, I'm not too fussed. But yeah, overall 69 points, just a small red arrow, not too fussed. Overall, I'm not too fussed about the game week. Then I'll just take it for 69 points. Move on to game week 5. So we're going to talk about a couple of transfers that I'm thinking about doing for this game week. Now, like I said, I've already made one, so I've only got one left. So I'll reveal that in my team selection. But for now, this is the first one I'm possibly thinking about doing. Now, whether or not I'll go for game week 5 and do this, I don't know. It might be maybe game week 6. We'll see how we get some possibly in game week 5. But it is taking out Woodrow for Højlund of Man United. Now, Woodrow's not getting minutes. He is irrelevant to me, basically. I've only got him in there because I thought he'd be a solid 4.5 million player. He won't go up and he won't go down. That's kind of what I wanted. Yeah, I know a lot of people are going in for Archer because he'll get the goals, but he scored on his debut. That's great. But what if he doesn't score now? Everyone who's brought him is going to want to sell him, and his value will just go down. So I don't fancy the risk. I fancy going for somebody who's anonymous, nobody really wants, and he'll just stay where he is. So I'm fancy possibly taking him out and bringing in Højlund. Now Højlund, when he come on, first time, I'm not gonna lie, it's the first time I've seen him play in a shirt. Never mind a Man United shirt. It's the first time I've seen him play against Arsenal. And he looked pretty decent, to be fair. He looked like a problem for Arsenal. He looked like they didn't like him there, which is what I want to see. I want to see something like that. Unlike Martial, I mean, that guy just doesn't seem to want to. Well, he looks like he's not bothered. Whereas Højlund looks like he has a point to prove. He wants to show what he is. There's a lot of talk about him being like a Haaland, but I would not talk about him like that. Talk about him in his own name. Well, you know what I mean. But he looked good against Arsenal. Now, like I said, I'm not sure how to go for game week 5 on this one. I might want to watch him in game week 5 against Brighton first before making the decision whether or not he starts. He's just had a 2-week break, so I'm hoping he starts against Brighton. It's going to be interesting to see how he gets on. But like I said, he looks like a problem. Now, we'll ignore Woodrow's fixtures because he doesn't start for Luton. It's irrelevant. Højlund's fixtures. Brighton is a tough game, but it is at Old Trafford. So I'm expecting United to win that game, if I'm being honest. But it is a tough game regardless. Then it's Burnley away. Now, Burnley, not going to lie, I think they've been massively disappointing so far this season. I don't know whether it's because it was Vincent Kompany in charge or because they did dominate the championship. And to be fair, they did dominate it. But they have been massively disappointing. They're leaking goals constantly, which is an eye-opener. So be interesting to see how Burnley get on in game week 5. So if they concede a load more goals again, it will definitely push me even more to bring in Højlund if he has a good game against Brighton. Crystal Palace is a tougher game, but it is at Old Trafford, so I expect United to do well in that game. And then game week 8 is Brentford, which is also at Old Trafford. So again, a tough game, but I'd like to think United could get a win in that. But obviously United at the minute are all over the place. We'll have to see how they get on game week 5. But I do like the look of Højlund so far. Whether or not I'll go for it this week is doubtful. So with my other transfer I've got here, now this is the one I'm seriously considering about doing now. Whether or not I go for Fernandes, taking him out is another thing. It could easily be Rashford or Odegaard instead, but I've got Fernandes here because out of the three, he's been the biggest disappointment. He's the one who's got the less returns. The other two are doing okay, to be fair to him. So I've got Fernandes here coming out, and I've already spoken about Man United's fixtures, how Brighton game is going to be tough. Obviously, Burton and Palace are nice, and then Brentford's a tough one, but it is at Old Trafford. But bringing in Phil Foden is very tempting right now. I don't know if you guys watched the Scotland game, but he looked great against Scotland. I know it's Scotland, but Scotland, to be fair, are doing well in the Euro qualifiers. They beat Spain, so they're not a bad team, to be fair. But Foden did look good. Now he's got West Ham away in game week 5, which again is a tough fixture. So do I want to make that transfer now? I mean, has the international break obviously put a down on West Ham? Perhaps maybe they're going to lose that streak they're on. It's a tough one, but for sure, I mean, Forest game week 6. I mean, Forest have been good, but this one's going to be at the Etihad this game, so I expect them to win. I expect them to beat Wolves, and then Arsenal. I mean, I expect goals in that game. To be honest, I don't see Arsenal Man City being a 0-0 game. I can see a lot of goals, but yeah. So I'm thinking about possibly bringing Phil Foden in to my team, whether or not it'll be Fernandez. It'll be either a Man United lad or an Arsenal lad going out, I reckon. But I don't want to take an Arsenal guy out for game week 5 because they've got Everton, who are a shambles. So currently at the minute it is leaning towards a Man United player for now. Whether or not I'll go through with this transfer is a difficult one, to be honest, because like I said, everyone's fixtures for game week 5 isn't the best. So that, of course, now leaves me with my team selection reveal, and here it is. So in goal, I've gone for Turner ahead of Pickford. I mean, last time I did this, it did not work out, but I'm going to go with it again. Hopefully, Turner can have another great performance like against Chelsea. Now, I know Forest brought in a new keeper, and I was a bit worried, to be honest, whether or not he will stay in the team, but I'm assuming with that great performance he had against Chelsea, he will start again. So he's got Burnley at home, who have been absolutely terrible so far this season. I mean, it looked okay attacking wise, but defensively they are leaking, so that is a little bit of concern. But I do think there's a better chance of Forest keeping a clean sheet than there is Everton keeping a clean sheet against Arsenal. So that's my goalkeepers. And with my defence then, so I'm going for a back 3 this game week instead of a back 4. I mean, defence, it's clearly not working out. Clean sheets aren't happening at the minute, so I may as well go for a back 3. I mean, look at my defenders on the bench anyway. I've got a Henry, who's got Newcastle away, tough game. Can't see him keeping a clean sheet there. And Estupiñán, as great as he's been this season, Man United away, I don't think he's going to keep a clean sheet either. So I'm just going to leave those two on the bench for this game week. With my starting back 3 though, Saliba, Everton away, I'm expecting a clean sheet, to be fair. Everton are so bad. So bad this season so far. I mean, they do really have to win, because I think the fans are really going to get on the team's back now. But I think Arsenal are going to be too strong for them, and I'm expecting a clean sheet there. Ben Chilwell's got Bournemouth away. I mean, last time these two played, he didn't keep a clean sheet. The Bournemouth did get a goal, so I'm a bit, not as optimistic with this one, if I'm being honest. Bournemouth aren't looking too bad either, to be fair to them. I'm just hoping, if he doesn't get a clean sheet, as long as he gets a goal or a couple of assists, I'll be happy with. As long as we get something out of him this week. So I'm getting nothing from him at the minute, and it's becoming really frustrating. If I had a wild card now, I probably wouldn't put him in, because he's starting to frustrate me. The more, even though nothing's happened in the last week, he just frustrates me. And then finally, Akanji, West Ham, tough game to be fair. But like I said earlier, will West Ham be able to continue their form that they had before the international break? I'm not so sure, to be honest. Usually some teams do, fumble after that. I mean, remember Leicester last season? I mean, I know it's completely different because it was a World Cup, but before the World Cup, they were smashing it. After the World Cup, they were so bad, in the end, they got relegated. So, I mean, I'm not saying that's going to happen to West Ham, but I do think Man City will win. But I'm not confident on the clean sheet, to be fair. But unfortunately, you can only have 3 defenders at minimum. So who are you going to have? You have the Man City defender, or are you going to go for any other team? You're going to go for Man City defender, really, aren't you? So I've gone for a 5-man midfield again this week. It's really hard to not have a 5-man midfield, let's face it. So Man United boys, they've both got tough fixtures. Brighton is a hard fixture, let's face it. I'm just hoping, because it is at Old Trafford, United will perform. But obviously, we all remember the last home fixture they had. They conceded 2 goals against Forest in like 5 minutes. So I'm hoping it won't happen again. I'm hoping this time United will smash 2 goals straight away. Fernandes and Rashford, both goals. That'll do me happily. Thank you very much. Doubt that will happen though, but they're both in my team for now. Like I mentioned earlier though, I might bring in Phil Foden. There's also James Maddison that's in my head as well. But the reason why I've not mentioned James Maddison is because if you look at the fixtures at Tottenham's, for example, yes, their fixture for game week 5 is actually decent, but 6 and 7 isn't. So with Maddison, I'll probably bring him in game week 8 rather than bringing him in now. I mean, if you bring him in now, I can understand Sheffield United's a nice fixture for them, but I'm going to hold my breath and hope he doesn't do well in that game. But anyways, Man United boys, like I said, tough fixture, but I'm praying that they do well because they're at Old Trafford. Sterling, I mean, Bournemouth away, like I said, Bournemouth are doing alright, but I do expect Sterling to actually get something in this game. I still think he's looked great this season. From game week 1, when I watched him in that first game, I thought he looks decent this season, and I think he's going to be decent, and I'm expecting something this week as well. I'm hoping, I really am hoping. With my Arsenal players, I mean, Everton away, I'm expecting a 3-4-0 winner, for being honest, with Arsenal. Hopefully, there's a penalty and Odegaard takes it, because that will mug a lot of people off. But yeah, I'm expecting good things. I mean, Odegaard's just scored yesterday for Norway. Hopefully, he can do it again at the weekend against Everton. And Saka, I mean, he's going to be fresh. He didn't play much minutes last night, so I'm expecting a fresh Salah for Everton. So pretty confident, to be fair, with 3 of the midfielders. I mean, I'm hoping United boys do well. And finally, then, my strikers. So, as you can see, there is my transfer that has been made. So, I've taken out João Pedro and I brought in Morris. Now, I'll talk about it in a second. So, obviously, Erling Haaland's going to be my captain. West Ham, like I said, tough game, but he did score there last season. I expect him to score there again. And Woodrow, sitting on the bench currently, doesn't play. Out of sight, out of mind. So yeah, Morris. So I brought in Morris for João Pedro. I did this pretty much as soon as I found out that Luton's double game week was when it was for game week 7. Now I know it's only game week 5 coming up, so it is a bit early, but the fixtures for Luton are really favourable even before this double game week was announced. So they've got Fulham away this weekend, which I can see Luton getting a goal. And if anybody's going to score for Luton, it's going to be this guy, who is on penalties for them as well as. Then game week 6, he's got Wolves at home, which I think is a great fixture for them. And Wolves, they lost one of their best players in the last couple of weeks, which is going to be really difficult for them as well. So I think he can score there. Then they got that double game week. Burnley, he can score in that game. I can see goals there. And then Everton, I can also see him scoring at Goodison Park as well. 4 great fixtures. I know it's Luton, right? I know they're not going to get many chances, but if they're ever going to get any points or any goals at any point of the season or go on a little tiny run, it's going to be now. There's no other time to do it than now, and they need points on the board. And yeah, I'm going to gamble. I'm going to have a Luton player in my starting lineup, which is mad when you're thinking about it. But I can see him scoring these games, so you know what? I'm going to go for it. I'm going to have Morris up front with Erling Haaland. Never thought I'd do that at the start of the season, but that's what I'm going for. Now, let me know what you think of this team. Now, I think it's going to do pretty decent, to be fair, this week, which always means it's going to fail massively. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of my transfer I'm thinking about doing, or my transfers that I'm thinking about doing possibly in the future as well. Let me know what your teams are. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all on the next one. Now, I need to